Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner, and guys, you're with Mike Spider Slayer getting ready to do, that's right, Mike Spider Slayer's Comic Book Countdown. Welcome back guys to another fantastic week of comics. This week we have 13 comics in the mix, and one of the comics that I'll be reviewing is a comic that I did not buy. So which comic fell into the top spot and which comic was the worst? Let's get started right now. So, at number 13, we start with, bam, Fantastic Four issue number 5. Why did this book hit on my worst spot, number 13? Well, honestly, when I saw the cover of this book, it turned me off right from the bat. Our group goes to ancient Rome and they see Caesar, and they want to learn the history and things like that. And, well, let's just say it's not really Caesar that's inside the book. It's some weird, stupid ghost or a creature or whatever the heck it was in some spaceship that travels through time and space. I found myself caring less about the actual issue, and I probably was falling asleep through half of it. The only thing that was anything of interest to me was Sue Storm and Reed Richards actually talking to each other about Reed Richards' condition. Otherwise, I could care less. Is this the start of me not caring about Fantastic Four anymore and possibly dropping the series? It's a very strong possibility because I could care less about what happened in this issue. Number 13. Number 12. Wolverine and the X-Men. Okay. It's supposed to be about the other X-Men. There's a lot of issues recently, I feel, that haven't been going in the right direction with this book. And if you're a fan of Wolverine Origins, you might like this. I really found myself not really caring about it. It was interesting to see about Dog's origin and things like that, but I don't know, I found myself kind of bored with it. Lots of dialogue, things like that, lots of flashbacks. The art was okay. I enjoyed last issues a lot better when you have the group, with Wolverine, how he set them loose on the Savage Land with his students, and that was very interesting. And now we throw Dog in here, his brother, and his brother's, I guess kind of jealous of Wolverine because his brother had it worse than he did. So I don't know. I thought this was an okay issue if you're a fan of Wolverine Origins and wanted to know the history of Wolverine's brother. But me, I honestly, personally, in my opinion, I really could care less. So this was a 3 out of 5. Fantastic Four was a 2 out of 5 for me. So next, number 11, Uncanny X-Men, issue number 3. Cover's pretty cool. The story, again, had lots of dialogue, lots and lots and lots of dialogue, and no action whatsoever. In the last issue, we were left with the whole Avengers team coming down, we're going to stop you guys, and then they just get into this, I guess, big talking match. And Cyclops is basically, put under arrest. Well, we know this. I mean, he's been under arrest and a wanted man forever now. And after some jabbering back and forth with Magic and Emma and the New Mutants and everybody else, blah, 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 it was just, in the end, Magic just winds up teleporting our crew away, and one of the New Mutants, Ava, whatever her name is, just puts our Avengers in this crazy time bubble, and that's what we see right here. There was some good lines in here with the younger new X-Men, and Cyclops is like a wrestler. He's like on this video cam, and he does this like wrestling move. He's like, I'm Cyclops, I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm like, okay, kind of cheesy. I find this series right now, 2 out of 3 issues have been kind of weak. Magneto actually gives his his cover up, trying to get information from Shield. Where in the beginning, in the first issue, we're led on to be as Magneto a spy for Shield, that he's betraying his own group, but that's not the case. He's basically wants information from Shield to give to his comrades. So that was kind of disappointing too, because I was like, oh man, this looks awesome, and now that whole plot is done 2 issues later. So this was okay for me. No action. And is it me, or Magic Sword just keeps getting like bigger and bigger? Like, look at that shit. That's crazy. So that's the next issue. So this was an average issue also. I wasn't going, oh my god, I can't wait to the next issue. Just like All New X-Men, it's amazing, and this is just like average for me. So I give this book a 3 out of 5. All right. So we've gone through 3. Number 10. Wolverine number 1. When I first saw this book, I was like, I don't know. Savage Wolverine was like a really awesome surprise when I read it. And when I looked at this book and I looked at the previews of this book, I was even like, what? I don't know. I'm not so keen on the artwork, And I saw it in black and white art. I'm like, I don't know. And this whole book had to deal with some kid's dad who gets this gun, and it makes him like psycho, and he starts frying people, and like the little kid's like, no daddy, and then dad gets killed, and he just frying people left and right, all over the place. And then the kid gets the gun, and all of a sudden it's just like he starts running away and frying people, and it's kind of like, okay, this is the way we open up a Wolverine story. Like, the character of Wolverine seems to be there, but this is just not a story that I seem to, I don't know, open up with when you see a Wolverine tale. It's more of like a science fiction type of movie type of feel to it. That's what I got out of it. The artwork at sometimes was okay, like this scene right here, but it just seems like Wolverine is just getting punished, to like pummeled in this issue, and it's like testing his healing factor to the extreme. But again, it's just some weird, crazy science fiction like issue, something like you would expect out of Nova or Guardians of the Galaxy. And I don't know, I was all right with this issue. Again, for number 1, I thought this could be better. And same thing, I'm going to give this one a 3 out of 5. Average issue at best. So next, number 9. Batgirl. Issue number 18, the Requiem issues for the Bat series, for the Bat books this week. I thought this one was okay. I really, really would have loved to see Gail Simone write this book and, put a different spin on it a little bit. It's unfortunate that she wasn't able to. The artwork was okay in this book. For me, it's like, all right, she looks a little beat up there. And it's cool to see Commissioner Gordon's son being on, being the crazy guy that he is. And I like Batgirl's character, but there wasn't much remorse or memory for Batgirl with Damian. She tries to contact Dick Grayson, and he hangs up. So you're kind of like, what's going on there? And I thought the issue was okay, and it had to do with this Firebug character. And she gets into this crazy scene, and she's obviously outraged by Damian's death. So in the end, though, this was a solid issue. It wasn't bad. I liked it, and I'm really interested to see what's going to happen at the actual next issue with this and where Batgirl is going. And I'm actually looking forward to Gail Simone coming back onto the series. So I'm going to give this one a 3.5 out of 5. So we've done how many now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think we're on number 8. Green Lantern Corps, issue 18. This book was pretty good. I want to say that it hasn't been as good as the other ones, like Kyle's and the original Green Lantern, but it's better than the Red Lantern book. And it's interesting to see Fatality and Jon Stewart's, I guess, confrontation, or the way it goes with the first Lantern here, and it feels like just a what if book. There's all kinds of scenes that have to do with what's it called, him being like an Alpha Lantern, and if his mom was alive, and if he didn't blow up the planet, and Fatality just killing Jon Stewart. And it was a pretty good issue. I liked it. The artwork is solid in it. Relived some of the Blackest Night type of stuff inside, and I found it quite enjoyable, and it ranks up there with the other books pretty much. It's just not as good as some of the others, and it's interesting to see how this first Lantern is going to be taken on. We've get to see him get powerful and get all these emotions from all the other Lanterns. So now, how is he going to be stopped, and what his objective overall is? With these Lanterns, to kill him or take over the universe or whatnot. So I think I gave this book a 4 out of 5. It is a solid read for the Wrath of the First Lantern story arcs right now. So number 7, Age of Ultron, issue number 2, right? So I gave this book a 3.5 out of 5. When you opened up from the first issue, you open up and you see a world in peril. It's a post-apocalyptic world. There's all kinds of shit going on, and you're just like, holy cow. And you see our heroes, and they just in a busted helicarrier, and you're like, wow, what's going to happen here? So now in this issue, you get to dive into a little bit of the story. It opens up with Black Widow and Moon Knight, and they're very careful because Ultron could be anywhere looking to fry some people, and they talk in sign language and are just very quiet because, like I said, you don't know when Ultron can actually appear. Pretty interesting issue. It looks like Black Widow's had some troubling times, and this issue has to deal with a lot with Spider-Man because he was captured in the first issue, and he was rescued by Hawkeye. And Spider-Man gives his story about how the world was actually starting to come apart, and he was actually asleep at the time. And we don't see too much of what's going on, except you see this mysterious guy right here. I don't know if the camera's going to focus too well, but if you see it right there, that's some guy. And I don't know, but I know Ultron has to do with Superior Spider-Man in one of the issues, and that's that. Meanwhile, while everyone's talking, Captain America's been like huddled up in the fetus position pretty much the whole time, being a baby. And he finally gets up and he's like, I have a plan. And the artwork is kind of shoddy sometimes in this. Like, this is where I didn't like this particular part. And like, how does someone get up like that? I was like, what is that? Is he drunk? What's wrong with him? So the inconsistency in the artwork a little bit, and just, there was, okay, we open up with the apocalyptic world, we're continuing the apocalyptic world, and I don't know, it was just a little bit less for me, but the story seems like now it's starting to pick up, and the team has a plan, and things are going to move forward with this series. From what I'm hearing, big things are going to happen out of this series in the future. There's lots of story to be told. There's 10 issues here, plus tie-in issues, so they have time to build up the story. So guys, give this one a try because I liked it. It was a 3.5 out of 5, number 7 on my list this week. Number 6, Batman, issue number 18. This book was pretty good. Another of the Requiem books. Not as good as another book that I'll mention in the future. But this one had to deal with Batman dealing with Damian's death. Batman is crazy. He's just outraged. He's on the brink. He's on the edge. He's just keeping busy by just, I guess, taking care of crime in any way, shape, or form. Petty thieves, burglars, dog napper or dog steroid people. Like, there's some dog thing going in this issue. But you can see he's just super pissed off. And Harper is actually trying to help Batman. And there's some talk, and my thoughts were actually that is Harper possibly going to be, maybe in the future, but not right now, the new Robin. And you see her helping Batman, trying to talk to Bruce, and really trying to console him. And, it was a good issue. I just think, this gets your mind thinking, okay, like I said again, is this the new Robin? And I think it might be a little bit too soon to even think of a replacement when we're still going over these, Requiem issues. The next thing that bothered me about this issue was the art. Adam Kubert did the art in the second part of the book, and I guess here you can see how spoiled we all are with Capullo's art. And it'll be disappointing when Capullo, if he actually ever leaves the Batman title, who will fill out those shoes, because his art is so good. I'm not saying that Kubert's art bad, but this just doesn't fit it for me. The only thing that fit in here was the last page, and this was a nice page. But nevertheless, it was still a solid story. Batman's always a great book, and I'm giving this one a 4 out of 5. Number 6, Avenging Spider-Man, issue number 18. This book surprised me tremendously. It's in many ways better than Superior Spider-Man. I did a review on this channel for this book, and the artwork is done tremendously, and the writer is Christopher Yost. If there's a Spider-Man book right now that people should be reading, it should be this actual book. It's a fun read. This plot was actually simplistic, but yet it fit the issue. Also, you don't get to see Peter Parker's ghost in this issue or in any of the Avenging Spider-Man books, which is nice because you don't have Peter harping in his ear going, "Don't do this, Doc, don't do that, don't do this, blah, 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 blah." You don't have that ever, and but this issue has to do with Electro actually in Spider-Man's ear. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of something else. You have Electro going after Thor because Thor sent Electro away in issues of Amazing Spider-Man, and he wants some super revenge on his ass. And he becomes this antimatter, crazy Electro that can actually physically kill Thor. And this was a great, great book. And at the end, Superior has a plan that he's actually collecting the Sinister Six team members, and what he's going to do with them, I don't know, but this book actually has a purpose now. There's no just team-ups anymore. He has a purpose, and this story is collecting these Sinister Six team members, and then eventually it's going to lead into something else. This book was really good. I don't remember the actual rating I gave it. I don't remember, was it 4.5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5? But guys, it was really, really good, and I suggest you pick this up. If you're not reading Superior because you're pissed off at Superior, get Avenging. You might like this book. So, where are we at in our top 5 now? Oh, I'm sorry, I might have skipped the book. I messed up on the countdown, so I apologize. We're actually at number 4. And number 4, I actually didn't purchase this book, but it is Batman and Robin issue number 18. That's right, guys. I did not buy this book because there was no dialogue in it, and the only reason why I didn't buy Batman and Robin issue 18 also was because I had a chance to actually read it at the comic store, and I just didn't glance through it one time. I glanced through it for like 3 times. My comic shop is really cool that way, and this is the best of the Requiem books, of all the Bat titles that was out this week. And when a book can actually capture your emotions through basically no dialogue and all art, it's a special book. It really, really is. And seeing the emotions on Bruce's face about remembering Damian, when he's going out patrolling and he's by himself, but he sees Robin in the reflections, and when he's destroying all the costumes and he's running into things with the Batmobile, and Alfred's expressions on there, to compose himself before he actually talks to Bruce. It's all that stuff is just great stuff, and it just, the art says enough, and that's what's so great about artwork in comic books. It's as a comic reader, that's why you like the art so work, because sometimes you don't need the words to tell the story. It's all done by pictures and things like that, and that's what makes this hobby so enjoyable. And that's why it made it number 4. I'm sorry I messed up on that actual countdown, but number 4, and I'm giving that one a 5 out of 5. It's really good. So next, number 3. What is it? Star Wars. That's right. Star Wars issue number 3. Star Wars has been really good. I did not get a chance to do an actual review this month on this book, but I will say it again. I know how many Star Wars fans out there in comic book world and Marvel, in movie universe and all kinds of things. There are so many people out there that love Star Wars. If you're a Star Wars fan and you don't even have to collect comic books, if you want to read a good Star Wars series, this is it. I will say it again, this is it. This is a series that goes back to the original characters. It's no side stories. It doesn't mess up the timelines. It ties in nicely. It's a really excellent book to read. Brian Wood is the writer of this book, and the art done by Carlos Deanda is awesome. When you open up to a page and you see Darth Vader on there, guys, it's got to get the adrenaline pumping. You go out and you open up to things like him on an Imperial Star Destroyer, and it's just really good. Now, the next thing I'm going to show you about this book is that we have this. Look at that. Now, this book takes place between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back. All these events take place in between here. So again, you have all these characters. But what do you really know at this part in issue number 3, we get to see the second Death Star at this point in the Star Wars universe. You didn't see that until Return of the Jedi, but we get to see it here when Darth Vader first arrives at this new constructed Death Star between Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back, and they're right off of Endor system. Really cool book. You get black X-Wing, fighters. You get all kinds of Imperial TIE fighters at the end of the book, being constructed, and the issue just has to deal with Han Solo going to Coruscant, where there's supposed to be, there's a rebel trader going on, and just lots of really cool stuff. And again, there's new characters and old characters, and you guys won't be disappointed with this Star Wars series. It is a 5 out of 5 book, and that is a number 3 on the countdown. Number 2, Avengers Arena issue number 6. This is another book that a lot of people have not given a chance. It has, people say it's like Hunger Games and everything like that, but it's really good character development. People that know this channel and know me by now, I try to get people to read comic books. I may give a little bit more in the spoiler department, but I'm here to provide you on what books that are good, at least in my opinion, and I can recommend to read to you, for you to read, I'm sorry. And this is one of them. This is a good book. I'm huge on character development and a book progressing forward. And this book has lots of character development. There's a lot of characters in here that we don't see too often. And but the title does a great job of doing little bits of flashbacks, getting to know your characters, and they're on a place called Murder World, and they're going against Arcade. And if you guys are not familiar with Arcade, he was in the X titles, Uncanny X-Men, way back in when, and he was kind of a wimpy character. Well, here he's created a universe or world, kind of like a virtual reality world, where all our heroes here, which are mostly like teen and young heroes, are pitted against each other and they're forced to kill each other to survive. When these characters die, where do they go and what happens to them is yet to be determined. How the characters go against each other is still yet to be determined, but he pushes their buttons to where he starts to make them hate each other. And this issue is really, really good. And I'm just showing this one spoiler, and I also did an in-depth review on Dark Avenger Inc. And this book tells it all of what this book can bring to you right here. It's really awesome. You won't be disappointed. It's not a death issue every issue, but it is going to happen because it's called Murder World, and it's a great, great book. I think it was a 4.5 out of 5. It was a fun read, and you should guys go out and purchase this book. It's awesome. So that was number 2. Number 1 on today's countdown is The Walking Dead, issue number 108. Now, it's not just number 1 on Mike Spider Slayer's list because it's The Walking Dead and it's my favorite comic book series. That's not the case. The reason why it is my favorite issue of the week is because this is an issue that takes another step forward in the Walking Dead universe. For a while now, first we saw, Rick and his group, and then you came across the Hilltop, and then you came across, Negan's group and what he did to Glenn. Well, now it's taking another step forward and introducing another, introducing another community, and that community is called the Kingdom, and the Kingdom is formed of a school, like a high school, and the king of the community is this guy right here, Ezekiel. And he has a tiger. And it's just freaking awesome. Really freaking awesome. It's just, there's so much that goes into The Walking Dead. And just when you think, how can this go further? How can we take this zombie apocalyptic book that's been going on since the year 2003 and keep it fresh and keep it strong? And they keep doing it. And it's just phenomenal. And Ezekiel is kind of like against violence. And he wants to team up with Rick. And he wants to team up with Dwight, who's in Negan's group, to take out Negan. Now that's some cool stuff. The dialogue in the book is great. The artwork was a little bit different in this book. But it was a phenomenal book. And this just reminds me of why The Walking Dead is such a great series, because it's fresh and original, and just when you think maybe you might predict what's going on in this series, boom, you're flipped right upside over, whatever you want to call it. You're flipped upside down and something is thrown in your face at it. Just a great book. Negan's a great character. All the characters are awesome, and that is number 1 on my list today. So going back on the comics, we had 13 books. Number 13. Number 12. Number 11. Uncanny X-Men. Number 10. Wolverine. Number 9. Batgirl. Number 8. Green Lantern Corps. Number 7. Age of Ultron. Number 6, Batman. Number 5, Avenging Spider-Man. Number 4, Batman and Robin, issue 18. Number 3, Star Wars issue 3. Number 2, Avengers Arena. And number 1, The Walking Dead, issue 108. So that's it, guys. That is your countdown for the week. You guys rank them in your order. Tell me what you think of this week's countdown. And guys, I will be back next week for another comic book countdown with your host, Mike Spider Slayer. Guys, thank you for taking the time and watching. And I'll see you guys real soon. Take care. Bye.